Good day everyone. Now I want us to work on ActiBus. So how do you connect ActiBus and start practicing using ActiBus? Firstly, before you can actually hack any machine on ActiBus, you have to connect this ActiBus to your CLI. So using the VPN. So you click on this connect, then you come to starting point, then open VPN. So you scroll down here, then you download this VPN. So after downloading VPN, then you come to your CLI here. So you can just say sudo open VPN. Then so this is the file. So you click on enter. So now if I went back to check my browser, this should be connected. And you can see I have it here. It says what connected. So now I want to start working on this lab. I will solve this first two machine for us. So now to solve a machine, you just click on it. Let's wait for this to load up. So while waiting for that, you come to your card here. Please you don't touch this command warning. So you rather open another terminal. Then you are going to start working. So then you can come back to your browser. Let this load up. So now that you have it here, then you start your machine to get the IP address. To get the IP address for this, okay, I think one machine is running. So let me terminate that machine and start this machine. So while waiting for this machine to load up to get the IP address, so you can just come here and answer all these questions you have here. These are the tasks we have here. For this first one, in cybersecurity isolated environment. So we have like pick WM box. All the vulnerable target machines are often VMs. So what does VM stand for? Which is virtual machine. Then what do we use to interact with the operating system in order to issue commands via the command line? So we know that's the terminal, of course. So the others are terminal. Then it has three says what service do we use to form our VPN connection into the ActiBus lab, which is the open VPN that we use on our command line interface to connect. Then also what do we use to test our connection to the target with an ICMP echo. So when I use ICMP echo request, that is pinging. So now I think we have an IP address now. So what we are going to do now is we are going to copy this IP address. Then come to our terminal. The first thing we are going to do to check if we can actually interact with the target. So we are going to ping, then specify the count just for packets to test for connection. And you can see this says what 4 packets transmitted and 4 packets received. So you can try to connect. So the next thing you are going to do now is you come here now. You know the answer to this ping. Then after pinging, what we are going to do is what is the name of the most common tool for finding open ports on internet? target. So for you to find who port and the target, you make use of Nmap. So Nmap is a network mapper. So used to scan any device to check for the open ports you have on it and the service warning. So for this device, we are making use of Nmap to scan it to check if there is an open port. So let's wait for this system. Okay, now this is what host is up. Then Netflix, now the 99 closed TCP port. Then we have this port 23 open, and the service only on this port 23 is what Telnet. And we all know that Telnet is also a protocol, but Telnet is the unsecure version of SSH. So it means that you can actually exploit this Telnet. So for us to make use of Telnet to exploit Telnet, so what we are going to do is we make use of Telnet to access a device remotely. So a device one using we're making use of Linux OS. So Telnet helps us to access that device remotely. So to do that, just Telnet, then followed by the IP address of the machine, then enter. So by default here, we have a user called root on Telnet. That whenever you're making use of that root, it's going to log in without asking for password or anything. So that's I'm going to make use of root now. Enter. So this is successful. Now let me check for our flags. Our flag inside root. So let me check for what we actually find. We actually have inside this machine. So ls it says flag.txt. So I can actually cat flag.txt. You can see this is our flag. You can actually copy this flag, then submit this flag here. Then you are done for that machine. So for you to start another, but that's how to solve a machine. So for you to solve another machine, you can actually terminate this machine. Then you are going to start another machine. Then you can come back here. You click on the next machine. You are done with that. So you click on the second machine to access that. So you can actually come to this terminal and says what exit to leave this machine. Says what exit. Why this is not working. So you can actually close this if it is not working and open another terminal. Okay. Now let me start this machine also. Can I get another IP address for this the IP address of this machine before we start hacking? Now the first question here says what does the three letter acronym FTP stand for? This is what file transfer protocol. This is the protocol we make use of to transfer file. So then this file actually runs on the port 21 by default. So then we have the secure version of FTP, which is what SFTP. So you can actually read this question outside. So the command that we make use of to like test for connection is what we know as ping. So whenever you're getting an IP address, the first thing I'm going to do is ping to test for connection. Because if you can't connect with the computer, you can't actually do anything on there. So let's see. I think we are waiting for this to give us an IP address. So machine is starting. Stand by. So now we have IP address. Then I can just copy the IP address. The first thing to do is what? Ping it first. And this is what this set for packets and policy. So I can actually communicate with this device. The next thing I'm going to do is let us make use of our Nmap. But if you look at this task here, the question here says what is the version. Okay, what version is FTP running on the target and also the OS. So for you to scan for the version and the operating system, you are going to make use of Nmap, then hyphen small letter V, small letter S, then capital V. Sorry, followed by the IP address. So this is going to show us the version and also the operating system running on this device alongside with the open port and the protocols. So let us wait for this to scan. Okay, I think we are done here. So you can see we have port 21 running on this. The site showing is port 21 is FTP. I told the FTP is not secure. The secure version for FTP is SFTP, and this is the version. Then the operating system is what Unix. So what we're going to do now is let us log into this device since it's making use of FTP. So to log in, you can just say FTP followed by the IP address, then enter. So by default, we have this username on FTP. It is anonymous. So we are making use of anonymous on FTP. It's a default username that doesn't require password. So you're going to use a blank password for this. So anonymous, enter, then click on enter again. You guys are asking for password, you click on enter. So let's check for what we have the ls. Can you see we have our flag.txt, but on FTP you don't cat. See, you try to cat, see what you are going to get. It says what invalid command. So what can actually do is let us download this by making use of get, then the name of the file, then enter. So we are downloading this file to our carry. So we'll go and cut it on our carry to see the flag inside. I think we are done. You can just press exit. Then after that, the file we downloaded is just a cat, then flag.txt. That's fine, we downloaded, then enter. So we have our flag. So that's how to solve lab on at the bus. Then when you are done with that, it terminates. It comes down here, then submit your flag here. Submit your flag here. Yeah, so you submit your flag. Then after that, it terminates that machine and switch another machine. So that's how to solve lab on Actibus. Thank you very much. Ọlọ́run, Ọlọ́run, mo ti ń lọ o.